your company to be either normal or exponential. If you want to be exponential, then you have to change your company behavior. And, make sure you have a plan to bring AI to your company.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the AI Space podcast, where we strive to encourage and empower AI founders, innovators, startups, and businesses to drive innovation and scale their initiatives with game-changing insights. I'm your host, Sanjay Kalluvilayil, founder and CEO of Stonehaas Advisors, a consultancy dedicated to helping AI founders struggling with cash flows to create value and maximize valuations to fund growth, successful capital raises, and/or strategic exits. This is our 7th episode, and we're thrilled to have Alberto Rodrigues, Director of Sales and Contracts at Knight Aerospace. He is a PMP ACP certified project manager with over 20 years of widespread expertise overseeing large-scale and cutting-edge technology projects. Areas include industrial production environments from concept to delivery, with experience in budgets exceeding over $100 million. Its expertise in agile methodologies and coordination of cross-functional and international teams, R&D, production, and offset programs in aerospace and defense industries. So on today's episode, as always, we're going to talk about the technology architecture, integrating AI into your technology stack, business scaling, cost-effective strategies to grow your business, ethical and responsible AI, balancing innovation with accountability, AI democratization, empowering businesses and unique perspectives, and finally, some encouragement, final insights, thoughts, and words of encouragement. Alberto, welcome. Here on the AI Space podcast, we highlight game-changing insights that drive innovation and scale business and initiatives. What do you see as the hottest trends in AI for 2025?
The number one, it's known that AI boom has been affecting companies' products and services. And, as everything becomes automated with AI, the desire for more human interactions and content grows. High-tech solutions have been as important as high-tech solutions. And we have to remember that the foundational ideas of AI began to take shape in the 40s with, Alan Turing, and the term artificial intelligence was officially coined in the 50s. And the modern AI started gaining traction just in the 90s. It may seem contradictory, but with any technological revolution, there is a rebound effect when, something new expands, and the opposite also gains strength. So it is Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This means that forces always come in pairs and are never one-sided. And, there are 3 important facts that reinforces that 2025 is going to be a year that we will have to deal with the rebound effect of AI. So the demand for co-working spaces is increasing. AI augmented therapy and counseling has been in person versus through AI agents, as it was in 2022, 2023, because of the pandemic. And by the way, a study published in the Journal of Digital Health in 2023 showed that while AI applications in mental health can increase accessibility and reduce stigmas, many individuals still prefer, the in-person sessions due to the importance of empathy and the therapeutic relationship with AI currently lacks. So human therapies are still needed. Another thing, the in-person events and conferences. So that's a big deal. I mean, the in-person conversations, the prospection through meetings with customers, it still matters and it's important. So in summary, for 2025, go ahead and offer human touch in our services. If your business is a B2B, physically visiting, the client to close a major deal can be the difference that, justifies a more robust proposal. promote immersive experiences, workshops, meetings, and in-person versions of courses and things like that, and learn more, how to use AI without seeming like you are using AI. And personalization and context are key to this. And just because AI is solving tasks is one of the rise, doesn't mean that humans are no longer important. And at the end of the day, people still uh, connect better with people. The number two, AI is the new Microsoft Office. In the 90s, in 2000s, having knowledge of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint became, a requirement for almost any job. The same thing is happening with AI tools. So today, it's not enough to just know how to type prompts in a chat. And, there are tools for everything: chat tools, image tools, voice tools, transcription tools, etc. And, in the past, Excel was a plus. Today, it is basic. And AI is the new basic that will soon be essential for any professional. And for 2025, as far as the number two, a few steps to help you prepare for this year. So start by building your own AI stack. Consider which tools make sense for your routine and integrate them in one place. Share your techniques and tools with friends. Encourage colleagues and teams to, use AI for both brainstorming and execution, from support to marketing. And maybe recognize that if you will be in the market for the next 5 years at least, you will have to study. So try to spend 1 hour per day for like 30 days. And remember, you know, I heard a quote one of these days that pretty much reflects what I'm saying here, which is there is no human better than a machine for many things, but there is no machine better than a man with a machine. So try to use AI in your favor for the future. And the number three, the importance of prompt engineering. In the 80s, we had the wave of computers. In the 90s, we had the wave of internet. In the 2000s, we had a wave of the social media, social networks. In 2020, we are having the tsunami of AI, dozens of tools, applications, softwares being dumped, some for free every single day. And, Sanjay, have you ever felt run over with so many news about AI and tools and things like that? And, I I felt so. So the problem is that you have to understand what is your need, your pain, and how you need to outcome of an AI tool. And have you ever heard the expression "garbage in, garbage out"? And that's pretty much what's the importance of prompt engineering. You gotta know what you are doing. And just a personal story: my family hosted my parents-in-law for a few months in our house, and my father-in-law, he's retired. He worked for 30 plus years with construction and wood, and we decided to completely renovate a playground for my little one. I showed him in my garage roughly 10 electrical different tools that we could use, and he used just two of them. And the playground looks amazing, and he knows how to use all these tools. And as professionals, we have to embrace AI as an additional weapon to be used in our Batman belt. It might save you and make you a superhero if you know how to use it, or it will be just a weight in your waist.
Yeah, no, I think if we can summarize that from the trends, et cetera, right, I'll do a little bit out. Or number two is using for productivity, right, to make sure that AI is a tool to make you more productive, and it'll be, kind of like the next Microsoft Office, and, in terms of collaboration and doing more creative things. I think one thing we got to not lose perspective of especially from a user experience, customer experience perspective, and driving customer loyalty. It's not over relying on AI where you lose that connection, that relationship, especially when it drives something called customer lifetime value. It's really about the relationships and connections. And is your solution solving a problem that resonates with the customer and actually drives value, right? So that leads us to the next section. What insights have you seen the last year that founders are using to scale up their businesses?
All right, that's a great question. So, this week I was reading an article from Harvard published last month, about some ways AI changed business in 2024. And, according to executives, and that was very interesting. So one of them was corporate investments in AI and data. They are growing a lot, right? So number two, organizations are reporting business value from their AI investments. So it's not something abstract anymore. It's adding value for business nowadays. Another thing that the article brought was that the transformation due to AI will be gradual for most organizations. So that's a big deal because due to the high quantity of information in the market, companies, they feel pushed against the wall for, to implement something. And that's not exactly what the article, but so we still have time. There are a lot of, tools, a lot of things happening in the market. We just have to be careful with, how we implement this in the companies and how we try to, introduce these tools in our companies. Number four, organizations are focusing on responsible AI, safeguards, and guardrails. And so 2024 was the year that entities and companies came up for air and started discussing regulations, thresholds, ethics. These are important milestones of the AI revolution. So AI can be really absorbed by the companies. We are not there yet. And, there are a lot of concerns about, fenced solutions, protection, and confidential and secret information. And another aspect that called my attention was that organizations are hiring chief AI officers as AI and data leadership roles evolve.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so, I think in summary too, I think, as you said earlier on the trends, there's so much news coming out. There's so many tools. There's so many things coming out. There's a lot of pressure on companies that, okay, are you implementing AI? There's the hype cycle. They're trying to introduce AI and increase stock valuations. And, you see companies like the big techs and NVIDIA had these massive valuations. DeepSeek comes out. They lose billions, maybe trillions in valuation. People are, and, I have some positions, some of these things I just stood still, and I think NVIDIA's back where it was for, after it went down back from a month ago before DeepSeek, right? So it's just not falling into this hype cycle. And going back into what you're saying, companies really need to determine where's the most critical place to implement AI. Is it going to actually drive value and actually build it out? And there needs to be some guidelines and some frameworks to make that happen. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think those are very, very important things in terms of the trends and in terms of scaling. So before we continue, I want to invite everyone to follow Alberto Rodrigues and like, comment, subscribe to the AI podcast, the AI Space podcast, because that helps us grow the show and have more impressive guests like Alberto. So, Alberto, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got here, what led you into this foray into AI and your path into Knight Aerospace?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I've been working in the defense industry for 20 plus years. I, served the Brazilian Army for 8 years. And then I worked with auctions, electronic procurement. And after that, I started working for Elbit Systems. It's a traded company headquartered in Israel. And that's when I started my STEAM's journey. At this company, I worked as, sales and contracts manager and deputy program manager. And after 6 years working for Elbit in Brazil, I was relocated to San Antonio, where I worked as a project manager of $100 million program. And after 6 years here in San Antonio, I was blessed by the opportunity of joining Knight Aerospace. It's a small company. It's a woman-owned small business. Bianca Rhodes is our CEO. And Knight is located here in San Antonio. As you know, I am not an IT guy, but I am an enthusiast of the revolution that new technologies may bring to our lives. So this interest was sparked when I started in the defense industry in 2012. In 2023, I was one of the billions of people that had their attention called by AI, and uh, that's when I started looking for some specific post graduation and some course about how can be the executive 4.0, the executive that tackle technologies that are coming up in the fourth revolution. So that's when I started a post graduation of AI and machine learning with business applications at UT Austin. Since I understood that with a more solid background in AI, I could shape the next 20 years of my career. It was an almost 2 years program, very intense, with more than 10 AI projects with programming at Python. I deep dived into the world of statistics, data analytics, libraries, etc. And by the way, that's when I met a grand friend of mine called Sanjay, with whom I tackled some of those projects. Sanjay, my friend, thank you very much for the partnership in this period. It was a blast to work with the top number one student among 100 plus students. So with those foundations, I have been gathering tools, following government decisions, testing working methods, and I have been creating the executive 4.0 arsenal. I've been using some of those working methods to support me in my current role.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'll ask you a little bit about that. But yeah, it was great meeting you. That UT AI ML online program is also through great learning. We learned Python, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, convolutional networks, computer vision, natural language processing. We did couple of projects, seed classification, and churn prediction, etc. So it was a great program, and yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I did graduate number one out of 100 plus professionals, but if it wasn't for my great study partner here, in terms of we didn't actually get studied together in a sense, but we bounced ideas off each other and we're good benchmarks. I know I wouldn't have achieved that, without your support. So, thank you for that. And that's also a good reminder to everybody is like, you always have to find good people wherever you are to connect with, to network with, for you to achieve success. You can't be successful by yourself. And so, so that's great. I'm actually also still upskilling. I've actually started I thought I'd never to do another program again, because at that time when I signed up for that program, I was actually doing online Hebrew and online Greek, and I had my final oral exams that month, and I had AI. So I was learning Python, 3 languages because Python, right? And my wife said, please never sign up for my course again. I said I wouldn't, but so anyways, that all went well. I'm actually upskilling for the next 6 months in an AI generalist for something called Grow School. I'll talk about that another time. But I think at this, you're at a stage in your life where you realize, you're a senior person in terms of executive experience, that you need to upskill and make a transition into AI. And, I was, 23, May 23, I just turned 50. So I'm upskilling at the age of 50. I already have a degree in psychology, a degree, MBA in finance and MIS, a diploma from Oxford in strategy innovation. But now I'm upskilling again, because I think you always have to continue learning. There's a saying, success, the survival of the fittest. People think it's Darwin, but there's a guy named Herbert Spencer. I don't think it's about survival of the fittest. It's really success of the fittest. And what that comes down to is the ability to adapt. It's not always the strongest, fastest, smartest. It's the people or the organisms that have the ability, the willingness to learn and to adapt. And I think that's where we are right now. I want to give encouragement to the folks out there that are in that transition. Maybe you lost a job because all these companies are laying off folks, right? And AI is coming into the business, automations, other types of things. It's never too late to upskill and learn new skills and, build something for yourself and for your family in the long term. Never rely on a government entity or even another company to bail you out, right? So I'll take the next question. So in terms of maybe explain to the audience, what you can. I know there's some things that are limited based on the security clearances and other types of things, but explain your role as a director of sales and contracts.
Yes. So in my current role, I've been joining in numerous negotiations with different customers to support the company in its accelerated growth, and I've been ensuring our business development efforts expand our market reach by ensuring our contracts reflect the cutting edge innovation and excellence. Knight Aerospace is known for those technologies, and we have uh, some very nice products. So, I've been working with Knight Aerospace for 6 months, and it's very intense, and I'm very excited for joining this company. And by the way, Sanjay, here is one very important note: having state of the art AI software amidst poorly structured processes is like having a grand piano, but not knowing how to play. The potential is present, but without skill and method, the melody never manifests. So that's something that I've been doing as well. I've been trying to to support the company in its growth by creating some processes, procedures, and we have to remember as well, Sanjay. Used to remember when we were in our post-graduation, AI relies on data. So we had to upload the CSV files every single project because data was important for what we were doing. So if you don't have data to predict numbers, failures, and risks, it is useless. I mean, might give you some great insights, but having data is crucial. And if you don't have agile processes, if there is no way to obtain some of those information, there is no way to automate processes with AI. It will be used as a sophisticated chatbot. And we have to remember that AI may, help you save costs, but actually, from my perspective, it what it will do is to increase your productivity.
Yeah, and one thing I was interested in this conversation too, because I know due to some of the sensitive nature of the business, right, and data is very important, but using public AI tools, there's some issues around that in terms of security, privacy, other types of things. So you had mentioned that you were kind of building out your own AI tools and capabilities for yourself to be more efficient in your job and make things go better. So maybe dive into a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm in a very specific project, right? So which is to create one department, which is the Department of Sales and Contracts of a defense company that works with medical modules. And it's a small company that has been growing a lot. So my focus has been structuring processes, the procedures, and also supporting business developments in negotiations and negotiate contracts. So even though it's a small company, we all have a huge concern, which is, the protection of proprietary and confidential information, of our company and mainly our customers. So in 2025, our company is pivoting for a new phase of its history. The company is growing, but it's specifically about my processes and procedures. I use some chatbots and I use some preloaded profiles that help me to speed up my analysis and my assessment on some specific subjects. So I named them, and one of them is Prometeo, who is my agent with PMP and ACP certifications as well, with a solid background in projects. All AI has a solid background in anything, right? But this one specifically, he creates processes for me. He start from scratch again based on my prompts. And when I am working on creating processes and procedures, I keep adding elements of risks and try to extrapolate them as if the risks were actually in order to adjust my process to avoid those mistakes.
Yeah, so in a sense, you've created like a co-pilot or a collaborator to work with you, right? So you said it has the PMP and all the certifications capabilities, right? So say that, part of the show is really about giving folks insights that's actionable, relatable, actionable. And there's a lot of folks out there, hey, if they're kind of starting out how would they approach this, right? It's, so what kind of tool, where'd you get the tools? Obviously you're not using ChatGPT because of the nature of that. So how would somebody go about that if you want to give somebody some guidance?
Yeah. So in my journey with AI, I have a big ally who is called the Adapta One. Um, you can look it up through Google, adapta.org. So in a nutshell, Adapta One is the first AI in Brazil to bring together 15 plus of the best AI models of the world in a single chat. So with just one subscription, I have access to all AI models, courses, newsletters, and online support to make many things. And by the way, they already expanded to US, and I pretty much use this platform, Sanjay, to do everything that I have to do through AI. So I have this agent, but I have another two agents and one committee made up by different personalities that I use in different situations. So that's a great question. Sometimes we need the research, we need to use AI, but we're not sure exactly which AI we have to use to do the job we're looking for.
Yeah, no, I think we'll get that into the ethical and responsible AI. Let's get a little bit of technology. Every day something's coming out. A couple of weeks ago is like, DeepSeek and other things, and now Grok 3 came out and has a different way of doing things. Are there any, from a technology perspective, what do you see as some of the interesting technology tools or capabilities coming out?
Well, I'm very much interested in seeing what's going to happen with the second wave of the generative AI, because for the world of executives, what's going to happen is that processes and flowcharts, they are going to be automated, right? So specific protocols that are performed across any company, from supportive departments such as finance, human resources, contracts, all the way through the production employees. All of them, they perform processes. They have to follow procedures, and a lot of those uh, tasks are made by those processes. So I'm very much interested in understanding how those processes can be performed faster using AI. So I know that, a few weeks ago, Grok 3, actually a few days ago, Grok 3 was released by XAI. And there are a lot of thoughts about what Grok 3 can do. It's going to be the new search engine, as far as understood. So, so those charts, those processes, they can be performed faster, and the final result of those processes being performed through AI tools are going to be felt by the customers, right? With products being delivered faster, without damages, and assistance given to customers in a on-demand fashion. So yeah, absolutely. I think that the processes are going to change dramatically with all this AI.
Yeah, and then, in our last episode, we talked a little bit about DeepSeek, and, Grok 3 here is supposed to be 10 times faster than its predecessor. It has like two reasoning modes. One is a think mode, so it's thought process in real time, maybe like a chain of thought type prompting. It also has a component called Big Brain for complex tasks, which require more resources. I think it's using Deep Search as its built-in search engine. I know now a lot of other tools are coming out with like deep research, right? So you can do a lot more research and a lot more. I think Perplexity just came out with something called Deep Research, where you have access to a lot more computational power and ability to get more research reports, performance on there.
And Sanjay, that one great application is called Mind Map. So Mind Map is pretty much a tool that you can brainstorm different subjects, and the way it is broken down based on your prompts is amazing. it breaks down one argument in different arguments depending upon the way you conduct the tool to guide you. So, for example, if you have a question related to some issue you are facing in your production line, a lot of hypotheses are going to pop up after you enter this prompt. And from each one of them, you can still break down in even more root causes. So, those are discussions that normally would happen in a meeting of 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. But, the tool itself is giving you a lot of different insights to try to find the solution. So mind map is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's an important point in that about, a lot of times when we use, say, traditional chat GPT or a lot of these things, it's kind of a little bit black box. You put in a prompt, it gives you an answer. Well, basically it's predicting the next sequence of letters or answers or words based on a probability. So you don't know that the reasoning that's happened beyond it. Some of the art of brainstorming is lost. I think if you're going to something like mind mapping, is like you bring back some of the art of collaboration, brainstorming, having, it's not just the central ideas, maybe you need some outlier type of crazy ideas, thinking outside the box, so making that happen. And I think as the evolution of AI that's occurring, it seems like a lot of things are happening fast. Even back on Grok 3, they're using a Colossus supercomputer. So XAI's custom-built Colossus supercomputer, large cluster of the NVIDIA H100 GPUs. I think it had 100,000 GPUs and then doubled to support continuous training improvement. So see a lot of investments not on the compute side, but when Deep Search came out with their mixture of experts, inference computing, distillation, all these things, I think folks are trying to figure out smarter ways to train these models, and not just on the training the data, but actually on the inference side and actually predicting real world applications. I'm excited to see what's happening from a technology perspective. Anything else you want to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll use another platform in the program management world. There is a tool called PMODO. So PMODO was created by two professors, Professor Ricardo Vargas and Antonio Rodrigues. And PMO is one of the most extensive repository of global project information across various project types. So the functionality of PMODO .ai is designed around uh, three different layers. The foundation layer is rooted in GPT-4 large language model, and the second layer is built on a dozens of thousands of resources such as books, articles, templates, and use cases. And the third layer is, the enterprise layer, which is tailored specifically for organizations. So basically, with this platform, you have access to support based upon thousands of different projects. So when we are talking about project, we are trying to make something, because project has a beginning, has an end. So basically, when a program manager is managing a program, he's interested in the risk management plan, integration management plan, communication management plan, ripple effects of problems during the process of implementing a project. So PMODO helps a lot with that. I love this tool.
Yeah, great. Actually, maybe another question, actually, maybe for the young folks out there that are just getting started in their career, right? So what exactly, I know, but maybe explain to them, what is a project manager versus program manager, PMO? Maybe walk them through that. What does that look like in terms of, why is that important, right?
Yeah. So project management is a very specific career focus in creating something new, right? So sometimes it's creating something new, sometimes it's an ongoing project that has to be changed. So basically, a program is made up by different projects. You have specific plans that you have to run in parallel, and there are different layers uh, uh, in a project that have to be managed by the program manager. So you have to take care of, the integration, the communication, the risks, the financial aspects of the project. You got to make sure that your stakeholders are well fed with information. And there are different types of projects, right? So you have projects that run in a waterfall mode, without any sort of iteration. That's the classical project management. And more recently, with so many softwares being developed, another philosophy of project management came up, which is the agile method. So agile methods work with iterations, and it's not the waterfall classic method. It's the project runs in a spiral mode until it reaches the goal of the project. And there are some characteristics for agile projects, um, such as task boards that are used on a daily basis, stand-up meetings. It's more versatile. The deliveries are done progressively, so you don't jeopardize the investments that are being made in your project. So for the young folks interested in this career, it's an amazing career. Any company has projects, and as you grow in your career, you can use your background in different ways, using the same background.
Yeah. So if I think about it, say that your CEO and sales team goes out and sells a project to another company, right? So there's a scope to that project. There's going to be a duration, let's say 6 months, right? And then what you do is put a plan together. You'll have milestones, and because with those milestones that are achieved, there may be billing points in terms of you invoice the customer for that information. So if you're managing a single project, you're managing that plan, you're managing the resources, making sure that things are occurring on time, that you don't go out of sequence in some things. Because if you skip one step, you may have to backtrack and it costs more. You have to adhere to the budget, right? Are you on track on the budget, etc.? So that's just one project, and now you have dozens of projects going on. So as a program manager, you're running all those things, and that complexity increases. And if any of those projects have any overlap, then you really have to more manage complexity, right? And before you're doing stuff in, let's say, Microsoft Office type tools or project management type tools that are good, but if you overlap with AI, maybe there's ways to find more efficiencies in those projects or programs. There's more ways to squeeze out value, squeeze out costs, and I think that could be the next evolution. Coming from these kind of like project management type tools, right? To make it more streamlined, more valuable, and maybe even find new opportunities to do things, right? Out of sequence.
Absolutely. So for any project you as a program manager, you got to be, you have to follow three main metrics related to the quality, to the cost management, and the time management. Eventually, a company is going to have not just one project, but many projects. And you might have many program managers. But sometimes for companies that have production lines, the resources are very specific. And one human resource cannot work more than 8 hours a day. So sometimes you have bottlenecks in your production line that were generated just because the plan was not well built, considering the correct assumptions. So in these cases, you got to make sure that plenty resources happen in a continuous basis, and for companies that have a lot of projects, we see that there is a huge importance of the PMO, which is the Project Management Office. The Project Management Office oversees all these projects and support program managers and project managers, and provide training for all employees involved with the project, and make sure that bottlenecks are eliminated. And in the agile concept, one of the main goals of the project manager is, the bottlenecks have to be eliminated from the roadmap of everyone that is working the project.
Yeah, and there's an old adage, whether it's in project management or consulting or anything, it's like time, quality, and cost, the three-legged stool. Pick two. You can't have all three. But maybe with AI, we can find a way where we can have more of all three, right?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of using AI with project management, because if your company has great data, you can try to predict issues that the project might have in the future. That decreases the risks that your project is going to need to that you're going to need to tackle in the project.
Yeah, I mean, unrelated to the defense, but say that someone's trying to build a highway, right? And we talk about bottlenecks, maybe the concrete's not delivered, or the shipments of steel are not delivered right, or prices increase because of tariffs, so that changes the cost structure of the project. Availability of workers, all those types of things. Rain, weather. So those are things that you kind of have to factor in, have to be able to flex, right? So another question I have for you: have you done anything? I know the tools you've talked about. Have you done like downloaded any, like using Olama, or downloaded any tools on your own from like Hugging Face or anything like that, or just have you approached that?
Well, I have been using the platform Adapted for now, and that's the tool that I have been using the most. And I've been trying to educate myself about the existing tools in the market. And there are so many tools in the market. I've been trying to avoid deep diving into each one of those tools, because I have some time to be managed between the professional life and the personal life. So adapta1.org is the platform I've been using the most.
Yeah, I've been busy. I was traveling this week to an AI ML conference, but I've downloaded Olama. I'm looking at leveraging some of the tools on my local instance of my computer. Also maybe looking to learn to figure out how to distill a model too. That'd be interesting. So yeah, I think when we first started out, we're learning some of the foundational fundamental elements. You start with prompt engineering, using something like ChatGPT. Start building out some automations, and then also some of your own tools and capabilities. Right. I think that's where the technology is going, and that's the beauty of AI. We're both not from traditional IT backgrounds, but I think with AI, it makes it much more fun and interesting to be able to do some of these things. I'll be honest, is like sometimes I've actually, on the IT side on my business, I've asked IT resources to fix something, they couldn't fix it. And like I had an issue with my website, and I went to, I think it was Microsoft Copilot's kind of like my IT. I use like all of them, but for like applications and stuff, Copilot's pretty good. And I asked it what needs to be done for my website. It gave me, you need to update your DNS servers because my Google emails weren't going through DKIS settings. I showed it my GoDaddy screen, and it told me what I needed to fix it. And I sent it to the website folks that I'm paying to like, this is the answer. How do you fix it, guys? You should be able to know how to figure this, not me, So I think that's some of the beauty of some of these AI tools, is that it gives you that ability to even fix some of your own IT issues, right?
Yeah. So Sanjay, that's a great point, because that's something that the companies have to think about as well. How are you going to prepare the company to absorb the AI technologies? So that's something that is performed by the IT department with all the resources. HR also has to be aware about this. So how is HR supposed to make sure that all the employees, they are being well trained in using AI in their activities? And there are implications in the production line as well, contracts, and so it's not just implementing AI, it's making sure that the company has a solid plan to implement AI technologies.
All right, that brings us to our next section. I think, we've talked a little bit about this, but in terms of um, AI democratization, right? What do you see as key challenges and opportunities in making AI accessible to people from a variety of industries and experiences and backgrounds? I think we've been blessed in some sense that, we've been in a corporate environment and had some, solid training, expertise, right? But not everyone is in that same situation. They may be in a situation where their jobs are being displaced, right? What can we do from a democratization perspective, people getting to AI, understanding it, making it more accessible, right?
Well, I think that the main challenges at this moment, and maybe that's the reason that a lot of companies are maybe pushing back in using AI extensively in their companies, is because we still have some gaps in regulations. So the regulatory fragmentation poses a significant challenge to AI democratization. So different regions enforce conflicting laws, creating complexity for founders operating across borders. And so regulations is a big deal. You've got to make sure that your company has a fast solution, that the information from your customers, from the company, is going to be prepared. And and that brings another topic, which is the compliance. Compliance extends beyond regulations into industry-specific standards and ethical guardrails. So founders must ensure their AI tools align with, their sectoral requirements, which demands technical expertise. And another point that is very important is the protection of confidential information. So generally, when there are big projects in big companies, um, this information has to be protected. Contracts are signed. Your company makes commitments regarding the protection of information. So those are information that you cannot uh, share without any training this information with any AI platform, because you gotta remember that AI relies on data. So if the information is shared without any sort of protection, this information is in a database, and after you launch the information, you have no control. There are a lot of companies that provide solutions for this with a lot of layers of protection, and the investment's not low. So if the companies, they want to make investments in AI, from my perspective, that's the first topic that has to be observed. The protection in accordance with the regulations, compliance, and protection of confidential information.
Yeah, I think that definitely goes into our ethical and responsible AI in terms of the confidentiality, the information, etc. Right? Question for you: I know you've been in the U.S. for quite a long time, but you had mentioned Brazil. What do you see, in terms of Brazil? How's the adoption of AI? I know a lot of people use, either resources from India or Europe, and sometimes now Brazil has a good base of folks. But what do you see as a rise of AI in Brazil?
Brazil has nice IT companies. Brazil has a lot of technology companies, and there are a lot of companies making partnerships around the world. Adapt One is one company that has great technology. They've been spreading their services across the world, and there are a lot of companies that are already using AI to optimize their production lines. A lot of IT companies that implemented already AI tools in their activities. And there are a lot of post-graduation courses in Brazil that people have been doing as well.
Thanks for that perspective on Brazil. Actually, I don't know if you know this though, but so where I'm from is from my family's originally from a place called Kerala in southern India, and Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese explorer, came there. Was surprised to find actually already Christians living there in a sense from ancient times. But the interesting part is, Brazil was also at one point the capital of the Portuguese Empire, right? When Napoleon attacked and the Portuguese family fled to Brazil. But the interesting point is there's a food in Kerala is called cuppa. It's a tapioca, which is the starch portion of the cassava root, right? Actually, it was introduced from Brazil by the Portuguese into Kerala. At that time, I think there's some rice famines or whatever, and there's a, disease resistant or famine resistant crop, and so it's actually one of the most, like, where we come from is like something called cuppa and mean curry. It's like the tapioca, and it's with spices and everything. It's with this like spicy fish curry, and it's amazing. And I was amazed to find out later that it's not originally from that part of India. It's actually from Brazil. It was imported there. So there's just a random fact to throw in there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Then
Yeah.
banana came from India as well. Was original from Brazil.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe I did know that, but I don't know. So on the ethical and responsible part, you had mentioned about data privacy and, making sure that you're protecting your source of data. But let's go on to that. How can we balance AI innovation and fast time to market with ethical and responsible AI governance and data? I know this is probably near and dear to you because you're having to deal with this every day with what you're doing, right? Especially with, the contracts and everything else, right?
Yeah. The reason I say that HR has an important function in the AI implementation is because, ethics matter. And in order to make sure that all the employees of the company are aligned, they have to be trained. They have to be trained frequently, not just about, things like AI, but also protection, uh, you know, cybersecurity, regulations, export control regulations. Everything is very important. You cannot, you know, nowadays share information, proprietary information through email and without, some approvals. And so, from my perspective, HR has a very important function in this process.
No, that's interesting. I think that's a good point. It's like HR guidelines, protocols, not just for, when we get to agentic AI, right? AI agents, there's guidelines and protocols that need to be put in place, but actually the protocols for the humans on how to access data. I bring this up in every episode. There's multiple sources of data, right? There's general data, which is, generally available out on the internet. There's your personal data, there's your corporate data, and there's your client data, right? And those have to be handled very differently. There has to be different levels of access, AAA, authorization and access, everything, right? So sorting that out, I think making that hierarchy, making sure that HR is involved. And then also, I think maybe having some systems in place to make sure that from a security, privacy, everything else, that people are not putting data into the wrong places, right? As you said, the data is the fuel, or my word now, the fuel, the energy source. It makes AI go. Without the data, it doesn't really work, right? And if you have poor data, garbage in, garbage out, the outputs and the recommendations are not very good. They actually has severe consequences, right? So making sure that another word in supply chain or blockchain is provenance, right? The provenance of the data. Where's that data sourced from? Who's touched it? What's happened to it? And making sure that quality is there, kind of like the quality of your tea or coffee, right? Making sure that every stage there's quality in the place, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, good. So, I think we're coming up to near the end of the episode. It's been a wonderful discussion in terms of, hearing about your evolution, your transition, leveraging the AI concepts and learnings that you've picked up into project management and, sharing with others about your project management experience, building your own tools, leveraging the right tools. So for the folks that are getting into the space, maybe they're new to the space or they're a founder that's trying to grow or scale their business in this space, right? What do you have as any concluding thoughts, insights, encouragement, to those that are out there grinding it each day, right?
Yeah. So, men perishes for a lack of knowledge. Seek for knowledge, and then, you will be able to make lucid decisions. Make sure your company is organized, your processes are in place. Tackle the root cause of your company problems. Make sure the communication is fluid and your employees are motivated and, engaged. And then you will have a fertile soil, to extract all the best from AI tools. With AI, you are supposed to have more time and not less time. We are in an inflection point of the human behavior. We have to decide if you want your company to be either normal or exponential. If you want to be exponential, then you have to change your company behavior. And, make sure you have a plan to bring AI to your company and start it.
Yeah, no, Alberto, I feel like, you and I can continue to talk all day about AI, project management, building your own tools in the AI space. We're coming up on time, but before our listeners, if they want to connect with you, where's the best place they can learn more about you and Knight Aerospace, or even connect with you?
Yeah, knightaerospace.com. LinkedIn, you guys can reach out to me through LinkedIn and Instagram as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I think we've had a wonderful show. We talked about project management, program management, integrating to your technology stack, building your own tools, how you scale businesses, going forward. We've talked about democratization, ethical and responsible AI, right? So, I think, a great wealth of insights. Always wonderful to catch up with you. So everyone, make sure to check out and connect with Alberto Rodrigues. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify. I've learned quite a few new things from this episode. Can't thank you enough, Alberto, and thanks for sharing your insights with us today. And for those folks tuning back in, thanks again for coming back in and tuning into the episode. And we can hear the feedback that we're breaking down complex AI concepts that are into something that's understandable, practical, relatable, and actionable. And I think with Alberto, what you've seen is how somebody's taken AI learning, taking into his career and transitioning and helping him be more successful. And that's what we want to do, is share those insights with all those out there. I'm your host, Sanjay Kalluvilayil, founder and CEO of Stonehaas Advisors. I hope you gained a wealth of game-changing insights to grow, transform, and scale to new levels and dimensions, leveraging AI. Hope to see you all next time. Thanks so much.